any more services after that, then it's going to benefit my children if I leave here and go and work and go into a Sydney school for them. And then I'm not having to pay $850 for something to be via a video.
Yeah, okay. So, wow, you've made that, because I know last time we spoke you said you were considering it, but it's definitely going to go ahead.
Yeah, I've just gone, I pay $340 a week rent here, and it's going to cost me another however much to get to Sydney, as we discussed last time, to go to another Sydney session, plus this $850.
Yeah.
So for a couple of $1,000, I can move and pay the same amount of money as I would be here and be around more services.
Yeah.
So just sort of started making sense to me. Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. But in the meantime,
rain, but I want a little bit more rain.
Yeah. Oh, that's gorgeous. But it's great that in the meantime that Riley and Blake are accessing these services that they are, and so it's every 2 weeks with the early intervention people.
Every 4 to 6 weeks.
Every 4 to 6 weeks, okay.
Yeah, for Riley, because they come from Burke,
okay.
And they do a round trip to all the towns, and by the time they get around to us, it's about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Wow. And what about if the government was to offer you support in Lightning Ridge to have to do online therapy training for you to learn skills to help support your children versus telecare into the school, if the government was supporting that, which would you prefer?
I'd probably still go with the school because as a mum, I've got a 2-year-old, and just to find that hour or half an hour a week to deliver that myself can just sort of put up walls with the kids. You know, it's just like asking them to sit down and do homework.
Yeah.
Whereas they go, I've been at school all day, and then there's an excuse, or we do a lot of extracurricular activities after school, so they've got football and stuff on. So I would be more than happy to do the course and take that back to the school and help out at the school, but I wouldn't sort of feel content with doing the course to teach my own child at home.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I would do the course to run alongside with what he's already learned there at the school through the professional services. I've just got no training in speech therapy. So if I was to do the training and as I'm learning, I'd more likely want to sit with the kids in school and listen to their reading and help them that way than trying to just do one-on-one with the skills that I've attained through the government for just one child. I'd rather take it out and do more than one child.
I think a lot of parents that said this, have said the exact same thing. They're like, where am I going to find the time to sit down and do that study, let alone implement it? Like, you know, you've got more than one child and so much going on, and I don't.
I'd try and find the time to take on the study if it was offered to me. You know, if the government rang me up tomorrow and said, hey, we're going to put you in this course for free or we're going to pay part of it, I'd be like, yep, okay, I'll run with it. But then I'd want to use that and give it back to the community.
Yeah.
You know, and because, like I said, my child's going to get that intensive care from somebody, even myself within the school, but it becomes a job then, you know, so then I've made the time to leave the house to go and provide that speech therapy to somebody or those skills that I've attained in order to just have some sort of structure, whereas at home it definitely can get lost.
Yes.
I can do study at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I can't teach my kids speech therapy at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Well said. I mean, that's what everyone's like, yeah, great, I'm going to try and sit down. Like, it's hard enough to try and sit down and do the basic homework with other kids running around. And yeah, makes sense. And what about if the government was going to support your child's teacher to get extra training to support your child's needs versus telecare into the school? What would your preference be if the government was going to fund one of those?
Definitely go like with if I knew here we're a little bit hard because I sort of see a lot of people upskill themselves and then leave.
Okay.
So then I'm sort of like, well, could you make sure that it was somebody who was sort of a permanent teacher here to be upskilled and dedicate all that money to that teacher that's going to stay within the community to benefit those kids? Because like I said, there's 20 kids that are just in the junior school, kindergarten to year 4.
Yeah.
that's at least, when you've got one class with about 15 to 20 kids in it, you've got at least two in that class that aren't benefiting. And now I'm working in high school. They're doing a Lexia program, which is fantastic, but the kids aren't really getting it, and you can see where the reading and the speech therapy and all that kind of stuff has really let that child down by not having that service within the school.
Yep.
And they just needed to be caught a little bit earlier. If they were caught earlier, then they would be having more numbers in their high school here and being able to have more hope for when they finish school.
Yeah.
We're finding kids, and I've done year 5 to year 10 so far, and I'm finding that those kids are just sort of giving up. They're getting frustrated because they say, I can't read, and it's because they can't pronounce the word, or they're getting tongue-tied with everything and frustrated. So, and then they say to me, oh, well, what am I going to do? I'm only stuck here, because they haven't thought about having a bigger picture, because they feel like the school's given up on them, or the government's not taken their funding away, or they just started making a relationship with somebody and then that person's had to go because the contract was cancelled.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point about if you're going to invest in training up teachers to have really special skills to support kids. You do, with that, retaining staff is a big challenge in a lot of rural and remote areas. That's definitely a risk, I guess, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I know we get a lot of kids out of uni, they're not kids, they're teachers, out of uni, and they've got great ideas and stuff, but they are here for a contracted time. And then they do get the offer of going back somewhere else, and you really can't say no to that, because it's their future that they're building, and that's why they have come out here for their contract and their time, and I get that. But at the end of the day, it's my child.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them to build their future and come out here. I'm so grateful, because otherwise we wouldn't have that at all. But at the end of the day, the kids just thrive for consistency.
Yeah.
And if you've got consistency at the school, then the parents are more happy to come along and spend the money like I had to do via telecare or whatever. But there's just nothing. With the way technology and everything is taking over the world as it is, there's just nothing that will ever replace that face-to-face contact with somebody.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm doing the teacher's aid course at the moment, but I'm sitting with kids to learn, like with maths and English, and I'm feeling like I need to go back to high school,
Oh, my gosh.
Definitely. If somebody was going to offer me the skill to upgrade myself, I'd be like, yep, because you start to feel inadequate, because it was 20 years ago that I went to school.
Totally. I can't. My nieces in year 1 are like doing math stuff that I go in. No, kindy. She's in kindy, and like some of the stuff they're learning. I'm like, okay, I'm really hesitating on this. Oh my god, because you just don't think like that anymore. You just don't do that stuff. But yeah, no.
No. And like I said, with the kids being so engaged with wanting to play their Xbox or their iPad and stuff, it's just, do I really have to sit them through a telecare, video conference to get this done?
Yeah.
And it's just like, because they'll just look at it like, that's a big toy for me to play with.
Yeah. I wish it would be interesting to see how it goes, like how Blake responds to it. I'm really fascinated. I hope it goes really well, but you're paying a lot of money.
I'm sure he'll take to it really well.
Yeah.
More for the fact that it's his, he's becoming a bit mature now, so he really wants to run with things and do that. But if he can't get, and I'm hoping it's the same people that sort of see him when he goes to Sydney.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's going to be that time that they've got to grab make that rapport with him. So he's wanting to be engaged for that time that he's on the teleconference.
Totally. It'll be really interesting to see if they can line him up with the person who he usually sees when he comes down to Sydney.
Yeah.
And
I'm just a believer in consistency, it just does so much for the kids.
It really does. That's where all the evidence is in consistency, for sure.
Yeah.
And what about if you had to choose between your GP's office getting some sort of training or support from the government to help support your child's needs versus telecare into the school? If the government was going to support one of those, what would you prefer?
I'd probably get the government to support the telecare.
Okay.
The GP just does so much with so many people with their all sorts of needs, I suppose, for the community, that I find that the regular GP that I see is